Meanwhile, Australia's second most populous state will take precisely 0 new arrivals for the foreseeable future after the latest mishaps at Victoria's hotel quarantine program. When will the Prime Minister and indeed the rest of the National Cabinet exert a little pressure on Victoria to do its part for the country and the thousands of Australians who to this day remain stranded overseas? New South Wales is currently taking just over 3,000 overseas arrivals a week, more than the rest of the country combined. Dan Andrews may love boasting about how the Victorian model is the best in the country, but it has failed abysmally again. What Andrews does excel in is self-promotion. No politician in Australia is more obsessed about their image and buying adoration than Dan Kardashian. He really, I think, wants to be a member of the family. This week we learned that the Victorian taxpayers have spent $770,000 to boost likes and followers on Dan Andrews' Facebook page. This isn't an official government or departmental account used for public health messages, but a Dan Andrews branded page designed to boost his presence and popularity on Facebook. It includes pictures of his family, pretty waterfalls, and even information about a lost dog and updates about whether it's been found or not. No doubt there's also been public expenditure on Dan Andrews' other social media platforms, and not 1 cent of it is justifiable. If the Premier wants to buy likes, then the Labor Party should be footing the bill, not the Victorian taxpayers who are already funding the salaries of Andrews' social media team. But one has to wonder why Andrews needs to spend public funds to spread propaganda on social media when so many of his foot soldiers in the mainstream media do it for free, including old mate Nicholas Rees here. I mean, really, why are we spending $770,000 on one platform alone, Facebook, to boost likes and follows, which has worked nicely for him because he's got more followers than any other politician in the country by a long way, including the Prime Minister?
Rita, I mean, look, I think we all know that you're glass half empty when it comes to Dan Andrews, but even by your standards, that was a new low in sledging with that editorial tonight. I mean, you missed the big fact which most people in Victoria are talking about, and that is that we've just done 1 week of 0 cases. And I know you hate this statistic. I know you hate this fact. But again, I remind you that back in July, Victoria and the United Kingdom had the same number of cases per day.
Tired, ridiculous argument. Nicholas,
today they had 6,500.
You told me you were informed.
We had 0.
You've come into this. That is just ridiculous, OK? Do not compare Australia to the UK. I mean, this is absolute infantile, intellectually vacuous nonsense where you want to compare Victoria with the UK instead of comparing Victoria with New South Wales or Victoria with Queensland or Victoria with WA. I mean, for the love of God, Australia's borders are closed. We do not face the issues that the UK, the US, Italy, Spain, Sweden, everywhere else that has porous borders faces. So for the love of God, no one's buying that argument. Even the members of the Dan cult, I think, would be embarrassed by that comparison now. But you keep making it it means something.
What part of Victoria is the only jurisdiction in the world to go through a second wave and effectively eliminate COVID-19? What part of that do you hate so much?
You don't eliminate COVID. It's a virus. You can't eliminate it. And even the medical experts that you champion say elimination strategy is folly. So let's not pretend elimination works. And 2, you seem to be wanting to praise Victoria for being the only Australian state that has failed abysmally. But let's move on to more news from today.
I want to agree with you on one thing, and that is the expenditure on Facebook is a lot of money.
Well, that was what the editorial was about, but you went on a tangent.
I personally think it's outrageous. But again, I mean, Daniel Andrews is not the only politician spending that sort of money on promoting themselves on social media. I mean, you're not so naive that you don't realise that politicians have small armies working for them these days, managing their profiles on social media, because that is a big channel of communication to voters. And so they invest heavily in it.
Dan Andrews' personal Facebook page, which is not a government-owned page, it's not the Premier of Victoria, it's Dan Andrews, should not be funded by Victorian taxpayers. If you want to buy likes, if you want to do Facebook ads to increase his presence, fine. Labor Party pays for that, not the Victorian taxpayer.
Every government in Australia is.
Well, I can tell you, Gladys, though she's had the best response of any Premier, she's got about 1/10 of Dan Andrews' likes and followers on Facebook, probably because she's not spending the money to buy them like he is.
Maybe she's putting things up that aren't as likeable.
Yeah, more waterfalls, Gladys. Get with the program.